Mr. Speaker, this is a bipartisan agreement on a framework for extending middle-class tax cuts and extending unemployment relief is certainly not perfect. In fact, I don't like it much at all. In the lead up to the debate here this morning, a lot of my constituents have encouraged me to oppose this. They know it's an unwarranted handout for millionaires and billionaires at a time when we're still fighting two wars with countless pressing needs here at home and a deficit that would be pushed further into the red by this giveaway. Typical sentiment was reflected in a call from Ken, a Niagara Falls resident who phoned my office to insist that it was wrong-headed for Democrats who control the House, the Senate, and White House to agree to extend the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy. His words were, quote, Barack Obama is still the President of the United States, not Mitch McConnell, and McConnell should not dictate tax policy, end quote. To that I say, I hear you, but nonetheless today, here we are. There are some good things in this bill, certainly extending unemployment relief for the struggling American workers who may have been laid off and simply need assistance to help them buy groceries and necessities until they find a new job is important. During the last 2 years, this Congress has voted to cut taxes for working parents, small businesses at least 8 times, and lower tuition costs for college students. We have provided the best opportunities for growth and prosperity. But losing $25 billion in revenue to provide tax shelter to 6,600 families who will qualify for this new estate tax handout is just wrong. It is disgraceful and it is damaging to the entire economic future of this country. In the aftermath of the negotiation, the President was accused of quitting in the first round, giving away the store, punting on the first down, and other things that I don't want to go into here. But while this agreement is flawed, there are parts of it, as I said, that will benefit the American people. Failure to send the bill to the President's tax desk for his signature would result in tax hikes on millions of the middle-class families across our country and loss of unemployment insurance for those who are hardest hit by this recession. More importantly, I think it might risk slowing the economic recovery. However, I think it is very important for me to make this point. We've lived with these tax cuts for 10 years. It is certainly no secret to any American or anybody else in the world that our unemployment condition is perfectly awful. And to try to pretend to the American people that once we pass this great tax cut for the rich, that jobs are suddenly going to rain on us makes us feel like Alice in Wonderland, able to believe 10 impossible things before breakfast. I am just not one of them. It will not make that kind of difference. It simply, once again, makes the rich richer. But that was the price for helping the middle class and the unemployed. I'll note that many of these tax cuts, well, as we know, were created 10 years ago, and what have they brought? Nothing. Steep, deep, lasting recession. But what I also want to comment on here is the impossibility of this Congress to let these tax cuts expire, which would in itself decrease the deficit by 50% in 2 years, says to me that these will never expire. And I want to put that in connection with what we have done to the payroll tax. I consider this one of the greatest threats to Social Security and its future. If anybody here believes, if anyone can stand up and believe that we are going to be able to reinstate that payroll tax on employers and employees, they only need to look at what's happening here today. That after 10 years of experience, which brought us no jobs, we are expanding tax cuts, which will again bring us no jobs. If this agreement doesn't become law, I know that the tax rates on the middle class will go up. They're going to end up paying more money, and I hate that because God knows all the benefits in the last 10 years have gone to the wealthy. I dread seeing my America, the one that I grew up in and I love, where I don't believe that the American dream is available for children anymore. I'm not going to cry about it. But I know that now that the rich are the richer and the poor are poorer, the poor children don't think about that much anymore. They think about trying to get an education if they can, or trying to live another year. So we have to take this bill up today, no question about it. And I feel very sad about it. But I will tell you that it has been our experience that these are the prices that we have to pay when we negotiate with our partners on the other side. They believe in trickle down with all their heart. Make everybody rich up at the top, all those great folks, even those with great inherited wealth, as my colleague McGovern said, who may never work a day in their life, that suddenly jobs were going to be produced. Please, America, please don't believe that. That's not what we're doing here today. We're not doing anything to benefit this economy here today. That logic of driving up long-term deficits and putting the government in the red more than it is, to hand out money for a tiny fraction of taxpayers, is that make really a sensible thing for America to be doing today? I think not. But we know that the other side in the coming years will pursue even more tax breaks for the wealthiest and the wealthiest estates. Now, all of those tangible outcomes are directed at millionaires and billionaires. As long as I'm serving in Congress, I will resist this with every fiber of my being, because I think it does nothing for our economy while adding to the deficit. In the end, I am here to encourage my colleagues to join me to support this rule so that we may have this 3-hour debate, which will give people plenty of time on both sides to express their opinion. It's a fair process. All the members will be able to express their views. I would love to now inquire of the gentleman from California if he has any remaining speakers.